Welcome to the Land Your Bet Sports Betting Show, NFL Week 8. I know how much you love that intro, man. It's a little bit mixed, but I got to be honest, I'm getting a lot of good feedback.
I love it. You've done the intro forever. I love it. It's just I can't hold it because I feel like you're pushing it even harder every time I'm on.
Yeah,
I break. I'm Andy Samberg on SNL. I'm breaking left and right. Horatio Sands energy coming from me right now.
Jimmy Fallon, big time Jimmy Fallon. Yeah, he tried to own that. It is good. I do embellish it. I'm trying to make you break. Finally worked. I saw that the smile coming, but the other smile that you could have would be for the fact that we're honing in on sweeping, my friend. Like we're closing in on it, and we're very close. We just need, I think, like a 5-1 week. We've been going 4-2.
Okay,
5-1 would be beautiful on these tutties. We're gonna be bringing touchdowns. We got props in a separate episode as well for just straight player props. If you want to check out 6 each for the tutties and the props, let's get right into it, man. Let's just jump right into your first tutty for Sunday this week.
This is so out of character for me, Lander. Like I cannot believe I've become this person. There's no deep analysis here. There's no. I mean, there will be on other guys. Don't get me wrong. Like sure. I'll talk you through it. Trust me. I'll bloviate. I'll go through it. I'll get into the details and the nitty gritty. But how about just Josh Jacobs and the Green Bay Packers are going to be playing the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I expect them to score many touchdowns. So I don't care if it's at minus 165. I'm taking Josh Jacobs to score. Do I need to explain that any further?
I'd like to hear a little bit of it, but if you want to
just go with Jags suck.
Jags bad. Yeah, that's fine by me.
The Packers will constantly be in the red zone, perhaps even the deep red zone. Yeah. And when they get there, there's really one good option for them outside of, passing the ball, which I imagine you think they'll do as well. I'm in agreement that they're going to be throwing that ball left and right.
Right.
But it's not as if Jacksonville is some incredible run defense either. Where are they at? I mean, last 3-4 games they're better, but still nothing incredible. This is one of the worst defenses in the NFL.
Yeah.
And I learned my lesson a little bit when James Conner just went off against the Chargers. You look at that EPA stuff and you think to yourself, oh well, these guys are good. And sometimes you just have to pound the rock in their face. And Josh Jacobs is the guy who's going to do it. I don't think that it will be a regular thing. I'm not picking Josh Jacobs on a player prop or anything like that. But he's the number one running back on an offense that I expect to have multiple touchdowns in this game. And yeah, I'll eat the juice. I'll eat it because it's hard for me to imagine a circumstance where Josh Jacobs isn't getting in, and I'm not going to overthink it on that one.
Yeah, I love that. I'm in complete agreement because maybe a little bit more between the 20s, the Jags have had success stopping the run game.
It's true.
And we know that they've been historically a pass funnel defense, and they'll probably, they will continue to be that because while we're looking at how bad they are, let's start with the rush. So rush EPA 12th, not bad. Rush success rate, great. That's good. It is third best in the league. But yeah, once you get into EPA per play, things of that nature, they're going to be much further down because you can get what you want. So, much further down is in 32nd in terms of total EPA per play. That's
and it's been a little bit better as of late. I like to look at the last 3-4 games of a team. So they're at 28th. Oh wow, moving on up. They're also coming back from 2 straight weeks in London. I'm sorry, like that has to have some physical effect. Because your body clock got completely switched over. I think we saw that when they were able to beat New England, and it was, a decent enough game. But like, they were up and at them. They were ready to go, and New England's just jumping in for the week. These are the sort of things that, sure, you could overanalyze it a lot, but like Green Bay is such a better team. The Jaguars are not a good defense. So again, I'm just going to go with the obvious thing. Let's just get one on the board here. Let's go with Josh Jacobs. I found it at minus 165. I'm sure you can shop it around, but I just want the touchdown. I don't want to get fancy with it.
Yeah, you can even if you have access to FanDuel, which I know most people do who are betting here. Minus 115 is a pretty great number for Josh Jacobs.
That's preposterous. Why is that available?
That's pretty ridiculous, and
I'm almost second guessing myself.
No, it's incorrect with the market because everywhere else has already dropped it down, and I think it's public perception that everyone knows by now for 3 straight seasons the Jags incredible run defense and not as good of a pass defense. They're definitely down in terms of how good they've been, though, in terms of the rush defense.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to make this one conversation because I'm going to go into Jordan Love. And
of course,
honestly, so here's my thing. Jordan Love, I like if you want to get a little bit crazy for his passing TDs, and I'm talking about passing TDs.
How crazy are we talking?
Yeah, what's that?
How crazy are we talking here?
Well, 2.5. If you get three passing touchdowns, it's plus 200. If you want the 1.5 touchdowns, you've got to drink a lot of juice, unless you play DFS. So it's like minus 215 FanDuel, minus 225. If you parlay these things with the win for Green Bay, because I'm hugely on that money line as well. When you've got Jags coming back from London, like you said, like this is tailor-made for him to at least get 2, which, by the way, he's had 2 in every game this season. If you go back to last season, the last time he didn't have 2 was week 14, I believe, of the NFL season. Wow. This was against the Giants, and that was a weird game. But he was also coming back. Then he just rattled them all straight off. Last year, still 11 of 14, last year, 13 of 19, rather. With the games he played, and that actually includes games from the one game from the prior season. So this is something he just does straight up. Even at minus 200, the implied probability is still not. The odds don't necessarily reflect that, right? At minus 200, it's like still, whatever it is, like 45% implied probability. It's like, well, he's done that more than about 45% of the time. So I'm happy to take that for the 3 or for the 2. And then for the 3, it's just
what's
taking
the
3 at 1. Yeah.
Can I throw maybe a little ladder for you? Maybe we stack this bad boy up.
Wow.
Jordan Love has an interception in every game he's played this season.
Okay.
He had 2 last week against Houston. He had 3 against Minnesota on the 29th of September. I mean, this dude he could have gone 2 directions, clearly, as the Packers quarterback. You can be Aaron Rodgers, where you worry about your stats to the point where you never even try to throw an interception because you're not taking the risk, or you can be Brett Favre. And he has clearly chosen the Favre route between the two of them. I'm looking at minus 130 to get an interception in this game.
Yeah.
You want to get funky with the touchdowns? You want to put an interception on top of it? You just saying Jordan Love's going to be chucking? I'm in. That would be, and by the way, what a fun game to watch that would be if you're betting it. If you have that stack of Jordan Love interception and 2+ touchdowns, I mean, you are front to finish watching a Jaguars game.
Okay, so I'm glad you brought it up because there's 2 ways that we can go about it. And this is what I was looking at earlier on FanDuel. Minus 109 for him to get 2 with the win. Yeah, I'll take that at basically even money, something that he does every game. If you want to throw, and I'm going to leave the money line for the Packers up while we throw the interception in there for him as well and see what that does for us.
Give me the, and by the way, like we've been talking, Jaguars defense sucks. They can't stop the pass, all this stuff. That has nothing to do with Jordan Love throwing interceptions.
Right.
That's a totally separate argument. These things are mutually exclusive. The man has to throw one to feel alive. And that's where we're going to be. It doesn't matter. You can have me and you out there in the secondary. He's still going to toss us one just to keep it interesting.
Just to make himself feel alive, especially when you're playing this Jags secondary. I would agree, just to make things interesting. But I think
that sweet dopamine of a pick.
Right. It's not letting me parlay the interception with the touchdown.
It's too good.
They don't want to deal with that negative court. Yeah. They can't give us plus 550 on that play right there, which is what they should if they were not cowards. But I still think the money
can't give us a bet on what will almost certainly happen because there's no Jordan Love game where these 2 things don't happen. It breaks the system.
I love the discrepancy too. Some books are just like, F it, interception, or parlay this and that and everything else. And other books are like, I don't know if that's a good idea.
We're trying to make money here.
Yeah, which is why you shop those parlay odds as well, by the way. But because that's going to be an algorithm that's not even they're behind the
black box, baby. Yeah, we're definitely not smart enough to explain it
precisely, and they're not going to. But I like this. I mean, if you did take J Love 2 passing tutties and then you got the touchdown in there for Jacobs at minus 115, as we're mentioning, you get plus 183.
That's crazy.
They're gonna score 3 touchdowns.
Yes.
Right? Like the wide receiver core is healthy. I hate the Jags. So I like all of this. Yeah, I think
who else hates the Jags?
We're giving some options here. All right, let's run into your second one now that we've covered the Green Bay offense essentially.
All right, so I think one of the best kept secrets in the NFL right now is how shitty Seattle's defense is. I mean, they are aggressively bad, and I think a lot of benefit of the doubt is given because you have Mike Macdonald as their head coach, and he is a very, very good defensive coordinator.
Right.
They just traded away a starting linebacker. I mean, these guys are searching for answers because the personnel matters a whole lot on defense. You can't just scheme away bad players on defense. You can mitigate it a little bit on offense. Oh, we got a bad offensive line here. Let's move over here. Defense, that's where teams are attacking you at your weak points. And for the Seahawks, that's pretty much everywhere outside of nickel corner.
Yep.
So Seattle's the third worst rush EPA since week 4. Success rate is third worst.
I have the worst up here since week 4.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I might be that. Yeah.
Okay, well, whatever. Last 4 games, something like that. Yeah. Point proven.
Gotcha, Dieter.
It doesn't matter where the sliders are; they suck. And you can say, well, a lot of that is circumstance and this. I understand. You're playing Atlanta. You're playing San Francisco. That's a certain kind of scheme. But I'm looking at James Cook and the Buffalo Bills offense. And with Josh Allen coming off of a not-so-great game, you got to imagine that they're licking their chops over there in Buffalo saying, hey, we have now – I don't know what Ray Davis' status is, but they definitely want Cook to be the number 1 there.
Sure.
Now, we have a run game. We've moved the ball with multiple backs this season. Let's ride. Let's ride with James Cook. And I know that the odds for a Cook touchdown are always going to be pretty favorable on the basis of you have Josh Allen near the red zone or near the end zone. Like he's going to keep it plenty. But I like it at even money. Like I like James Cook touchdown even money because I think the Bills are going to get into the end zone 3-4 times in this game against a defense that, again, not only has been bad, but is also now completely in flux. The guy who had the green dot got traded this week. Like, things are amok in Seattle. And it might get figured out by the end of the year, but it ain't going to get figured out in time for Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills.
Yep. I totally on point with that. Anything you want to do for the Bills. I think I'm going to talk about a Seahawks player. Actually, we're sticking in some similar games here.
My goodness.
Great minds, which is fine. Yeah, exactly.
That or we are totally boned.
Yeah, but that's the thing. We're going to buy into what we believe. We're going to lean in hard, and if we're right, we're going to look really good. And if we're wrong, we're going to look really bad. But you know what?
Well, I mean, we'll look good, but in our
fair. And at the same time,
will not.
Looking bad is kind of binary to me more than looking good. Looking good has a scale that it can slide on. Totally. Bad is just, and you know that as someone who's in the media, who's like, look, you're not going to remember half the shit I said anyway, so I might as well let it fly sometimes.
Well, my stuff is my stuff immediately goes into the deep reservoirs of everybody's mind, of course. But,
precisely.
No, I'm with you. You can't get them 100% right. The most important thing is that we show our work, and we certainly do that here.
Precisely. And so I think the James Cook stuff is good. I love a couple of things here. Red zone rush share, 43%. That isn't going to be as high as other guys like Kenneth Walker on the other side of the field, for instance. But it is going to be a really nice number when you have such a good running back or quarterback rushing threat with Josh Allen, who's a guy who gets more goal line carries than most quarterbacks, probably he and Jalen Hurts at this point because of the tush push. So yeah, I'm with the James Cook tutty. I'm with James Cook in general whenever he's healthy. I was looking at the depth chart to see if Ray Davis was fully healthy because last week he did have a little bit of time on the questionable list, the injury report there. But Ty Johnson ended up getting the start, and he and Ray Davis are probably going to be splitting secondary carries rather than eating too far into James Cook's usage. That would be my guess. I'm just going to take a look at one more thing because I know it's a little bit skewed by the fact that I'm talking about the rushing share between Cook and Davis and even Johnson. It's a little bit skewed by the fact that Cook missed a game, right? And then Ray Davis looked like the second coming of Barry Sanders, not even Barry Sanders, like Jerome Bettis. He was just bowling people over, running around him. But I want to just make sure that like last week when Cook was in there and Ray Davis was a little bit injured, but we still saw James Cook dominate, right? So last week, if we look at the game log, he 52.5% snap share, but 3 red zone carries of his 12. So it depends. Last week also, I believe they had to pass a little bit more.
It was a weird game last week. I can't even hold last week. And you're going up. What was it, Tennessee? I mean, that's a good defense. Right. You're going right at Jeffrey Simmons. Last week watching it, you just go like, no, this is a weird one. Like I'm not saying throw everything out. Clearly, there's data that has to be carried over, but I don't think they knew that they had the 3-headed monster in the backfield going into that game. Maybe until like Friday. Cook coming back off of the injury, you're going to be a little bit wary of pushing him too hard. But I think it's full go here. And again, it has to be full go. If you cannot absolutely go, turbo zone against the Seattle defense, what are we doing?
Agreed. And the last point I'll make is I love the total TDs. A few of them are receiving as well. 2 of those are from the receiving. That's something we talk about too, is having a running back that you're not just praying that he gets a couple of carries inside the goal line. When you're anywhere inside the 20, you're like, this dude could easily just get in from here on a reception. And the last part there is Ray Davis was surprisingly the better receiver out of the backfield when Cook was missing. Cook comes back. he plays the majority of the passing plays, still gets a good amount of routes run as well in the last game. And so he's going to continue to be the passing back and just the starter. So Ray Davis is strictly maybe 7 to 8 carries that he's stealing. Maybe you don't want to talk about James Cook's carries anymore, but as far as being the goal, a good bet for a touchdown from anywhere 20 and in, I think plus 125 is a great number for James Cook.
Yeah, I mean, I was willing to take it at even. So if you could run it down, I mean, I'm not willing to take a negative number on this one just because of the risk factor.
Right.
But yeah, it seems as if everybody's in cahoots. Yeah, I saw the plus 100 on DraftKings. FanDuel's giving you 125. This is why you shop.
This is why you shop. That's right. All right. I'm going to go into the same game as well. I actually had it in this order. I'm just going to go to Kenny Skywalker because he's also giving us a pretty good number. And if anyone's not aware who I'm talking about, it's Kenneth Walker the third, by the way, because he needs to have that.
In case you didn't know about his senior and his other senior.
Well, not only was his dad named Kenneth Walker, but you'll notice his
father's father.
Yeah, his father's
Charles Howell.
Kenneth Walker, son of Kenneth. All right, we're talking about a tutty for him. Is it still minus? Yes, sir. Minus 120, minus 115. I got this at minus 120 on DraftKings, and that went up. It's actually minus 115 now on FanDuel. He wasn't even giving us this. Have mercy, right? Like, look at this season. We got a 3-touchdown game. This dude did let's just say that. He did a backflip while getting tackled. He's an incredible athlete. So I'm going to go ahead and believe in him. If you look at the Buffalo defense, look, it's been actually pretty available. It's allowed a ton of running back points. If you look at straight up like fantasy points, essentially, running backs get what they want. And I want to show that real quick because I think it's important that you've got the receiving for him as well as the rushing, similar to what we were just talking about with our boy James Cook. For Kenneth Walker, like the simple stats are, it's actually the opposite of James Cook. He gets everything inside the goal line, no matter what. It's obviously ain't Geno. Zach Charbonnet is not Kenneth Walker.
No, there's one running back in Seattle, and if you're going DraftKings points against for running backs, Buffalo's second worst. I mean, they're right up there with Carolina, New England, and Dallas.
Precisely.
So
you're right there, and that's total fantasy points. I love because Kenneth Walker is a threat to catch out of the backfield as well. He's at like 23.5 rushing yards as his prop. So this team, as decent as it's been in certain cases, they also have Terrell Bernard out again. That's never going to be good. You kind of need your leading tackler and best linebacker. Not to mention Matt Milano's out for the season. I'll just keep mentioning it because that's two very, very, very good linebackers that they don't have.
They need to be traded for linebackers.
Yeah, right. We'll work for linebackers, basically would be what they're at. But so what else do you want? Like 80% of the goal line touches, 6 TDs allowed to running backs. He's got 7, 6, and one game that he's missed a touchdown, but he's got 3 and a couple others. You got Metcalf a bit banged up as well. That's going to actually eat into or allow for more opportunities close to the goal line. That's the only dude besides not even Noah Fant getting touches or looks inside the red zone. So Kenny Walker inside the red zone is an absolute beast. I'll just bring up that stuff again. But any thoughts on that one? Or are we kind of?
I mean, it was when I saw the number on DraftKings, I went, I just don't go that low. But I'm totally in cahoots. I mean, I already put one on here with Jacobs at a number that I'm like, that's rich. I like playing the plus typically when it comes to anytime touchdowns, but Kenneth Walker is just a no doubter, and I think maybe 2 is the play here as I see
you see me going to it to entice you. I mean, half the time that he's done it, or I guess 40% of the games
twice this year.
Yeah, twice out of 5. That's 40% of the games. I'm pretty good with 40% implied probability at plus 500, not 40% in the implied probability. So you're getting a little bit of value on that.
So let me throw you this way. I mean, because we both expect Buffalo to be able to put up points against Seattle for every reason we just listed off. Now we get into game script situations, and I do think that maybe there can be some value because you think, oh, well, Kenneth Walker, he's a running back. They're going to have to be throwing the ball. But without DK Metcalf, they don't have that big play guy. Now, listen, this is not to take anything away from JSN or Tyler Lockett. Those are exceptional wide receivers, but those aren't the guys who are going to get the 70-yard touchdown anymore. Not Lockett anymore, and I don't think Jackson Smith-Njigba is used that way. So what you're getting is a lot of big plays between the 20s to put yourself into a red zone situation, in which case now you got Geno probably dropping back to pass because that seems to be all they do. Yep. And a little wheel route, Kenneth Walker in the flat or in the coming out of the backfield. That's as good of an option as you're going to have anywhere near the red zone. Plus, I think big rushes are very likely given the linebacker situation you noted earlier. I like their safeties, but if you don't have good linebackers, you're getting to that second level with the run game. Yeah. That means you got to make one man miss, and that's not a linebacker. That's usually a safety, and those guys miss plenty.
They miss plenty. Yep, I'm with it. Yeah, let's close it out with your final tutty play here.
Okay, so the Commanders' numbers are always going to be messed up because you have such a great running quarterback option, and I'm not talking about Marcus Mariota. So Daniels has got this rib injury.
Yeah,
I doubt that they're going to be running him the same way near the goal line that they would have run him beforehand if he plays. And I presume he's going to play, given that I believe he practiced today.
Right.
So I think they're going to be more conservative with the runs with Daniels because one hit could just take him out for the game, the season, whatever. And that then you have this very promising season that goes away. I think they want him in the pocket, scramble if you must, slide situations, but none of this designed run stuff, which is so vital. That said, the number for Brian Robinson to score a touchdown in this game is still built, maybe not to the fullest extent as if Daniels is going to poach touchdowns from him, but it's still in there a little bit because he's the clear-cut option out of the backfield. They need to run the football. I think that the fact that you can get Brian Robinson plus money, I'm playing a number here. I'm just playing the plus money on Brian Robinson because I don't think you can run Daniels the way you want, and I don't think the market can properly reflect that in the course of a week.
Yep. Yeah, no, we're in full agreement. We've been talking about the Bears a number of times this season. 6 rushing touchdowns to the running back. That's how many they gave up last season in terms of the running back position. And then I'm looking at the pass. I'm sure they're much better against that, so they're not giving up too much that way. They're such a disciplined pass defense. They haven't given up a receiving touchdown to one of them. Brian Robinson, really good receiver out of the backfield, by the way. But yeah, look, I mean, versus running back, bottom 10 in terms of allowing touchdowns, and a team that I do think you're going to be able to move the ball on with Jaden Daniels in there. I think he's going to play as well, and he only helps Brian Robinson, in my opinion, with that stuff. But yeah, one more point for you.
Since week 4, Bears second worst rush EPA in the NFL.
Oh yeah. Oh, rush EPA. That, yeah. No question. I mean, on the season as well, it's not exactly great, but yeah, last 2 weeks, that's been very obvious. And I bet on Chuba, and I bet on the other RB for who they played as well in the following week. I believe it was Tank Bigsby, and then Bigsby sucked in London. But either way,
yeah, 6 touchdowns allowed to running backs on the season in 6 games. So again, you're getting that at plus money. I got to ride.
Yep, I'm with it. I like it. I love B-Rob. Let me close it out with something that I don't know how long this is going to be here. Do you remember when Tyreek Hill was like minus 125 as a wide receiver to score a touchdown?
It seemed like a long time ago.
Eons ago, for sure.
They were putting him up there with Jacobs and Jordan Mason and clear work, bell cow running backs. They had Tyreek Hill in there too.
At minus 5, there was a week after like 7 weeks in a row that he had a touchdown where it was like minus 140, and I was like, what is happening? This is a player who's going to be involved in a fraction of the plays, and we're giving him this. That's how dominant it was. Well, guess what? Like, the reason that he sucked so much in the last few weeks is because you try to play with Snoop Huntley or Skylar Thompson.
You mean Pro Bowl quarterback Snoop Huntley?
Yes, that is exactly who I'm talking about. So yeah, now we got Tua back. Look, I don't know what's going to happen with Tua, but it looks like he's back, right?
He's playing. Yeah, he'll play on Sunday.
Yeah, he's going to play. So do I need to get into everything, or like tell me what I'd rather have you do than anything is tell me why this fails?
I don't know what Tua is going to look like coming out of concussion protocol. I don't know how much practice they've had. Certainly the offense is going to be better because you can't divide by 0. How low would this number need to go in order for you to be scared off?
Oh, I'm not taking a negative number. I'm not taking anything below even money for sure.
Yeah. So I think that's just I think that's good principle. Like, that's a strict play. You're getting Tyreek Hill with his starting quarterback back. And you're getting plus money. This is a one-off. Full stop. I don't care how bad the offensive line is. They have 3 running backs that they can trust out of the backfield. That doesn't matter to me. If we were talking Jalen Waddle, there might be another conversation, but Tyreek Hill's getting the goddamn ball.
Yeah.
Like, the season's on the line. Who are you giving the ball to? I don't know. Tyreek Hill, that seems like a good idea. And I don't care where it is, down the field, across the field, behind the line of scrimmage. Let him touch the ball, because clearly he hasn't had anything to do for a couple of weeks now. And he's ready to roar. And he's talking some mad shit in the locker room, saying we're so back and all this. So, plus money.
Yeah, I just want to bring that up too, because you were talking about like who's gonna like Arizona's not gonna get pressure on Tua. So that's what you worry about with Tua, is like if his pockets collapse, he's nothing. When his pocket is healthy, it's ripping and roaring, right? With guys that can run after the catch, obviously as much as anything. So
my concern on this one is that Arizona, for as bad as they are as a defense, is very well coordinated, and I have to imagine that Gannon is going to be looking at the situation, understanding that this is not the 70-point Dolphins from a year ago, that this is a new iteration.
Fair.
Quarterback coming in cold. Obviously, the just general uneasiness of everything going on in that game. I would expect that Tyreek is getting bracketed most of the game, and they'll let somebody else beat them. That said, as I mentioned, you have two, Mostert's come back and look good. You have Achane out of concussion protocol himself. Like, you can't, I don't know how, if you can fully commit Patriots style. Certainly with personnel, you have that trouble, but I don't know if you can fully commit Patriots style to a permanent bracket on Tyreek Hill, and it only takes one time for him to.
Yeah, one. It's just going to take one. I mean, let's say that that's the case for as many plays as they could possibly design on defense. I still believe in he's going to get one in this game. I think it's mostly about forcing it to him. That's the other thing I love about this, is the angle that Miami's like watched him essentially just play his way off the field consistently by being frustrated or just whatever, and visibly so, as he's someone who obviously shows his emotions pretty clearly. So yeah, I think they're going to need to keep him happy. He's the dude on their team. Yes, it's the season, but it's also like if you want 2 to 3 more years of legit Tyreek Hill trying and not demanding a trade, then you're going to get him the ball in a position to score in this game. So
it's now or never, and you're getting plus money.
Precisely. Yep. This is something that's walking out the door. This was plus 120 like an hour and a half ago. So I would highly recommend betting this as soon as you get it up. I'm going to close the tutties here, Dietz, and we're going to get into the player props. But appreciate the tutties as always, my friend.
Happy betting.